I think we can start now. Hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you're joining us from. Thank you for making the time to attend this session. Just a heads up to let you know that this session is being recorded for those of us that were unable to register before the start of today's event. My name is Jola Day. By day, I am a volunteer at Lane. And by day as well, I'm a product manager with a payment solutions company. I'm very excited about today's session. We are joined by two wonderful guests, Christian and Somto from the University of Virginia, Darden Business School. Just before we get into it, I'd like to talk to you about Lane, who we are, what we do. Lane stands for Light Africa Network, and we are a community of like-minded individuals who are passionate about developing ourselves, developing our continent. And right now, Lane's focus is on increasing Africa's representation in global MBA programs. So the theme of what we have today is MBA for Africa. That's essentially where we invite, recruitment and admissions teams from these programs to come and speak to us, to let us know, how best to position ourselves to be able to, successfully get into these programs, what they're looking for, what makes an outstanding candidate, all of that we get to hear firsthand. I know that we all actively research, how to go about applying to these schools, what makes us stand out, what's the wow factor. But on events like this, you hear directly from the schools themselves. And there's more to us. Our vision is to build an economically and politically inclusive Africa. And the way in which we intend to do this is to equip young Africans like you and I to be able to identify initiatives that drive growth for Africa in a sustainable way. And quickly, our principles are, such that we are selfless, we are diverse, we are creative, and we are keen to carry each other along, through this journey. We also remain accountable to ourselves and remain accountable to each other in the whole process. It's super easy to become a member of Lane. We always, welcome everyone with open arms. You simply need to be African who lives in Africa, be at least 20 years old, be self-motivated, you're going to need that, be qualified for an MBA. It's absolutely free, so that's something you don't need to worry about. Here, I have created a QR code that you can scan quickly. Just grab your phones and get scanning. It will take you directly to our page and you can read all about us, join us, etc, etc. So while everyone is doing that, I'll encourage us to drop our messages in the chat section. We are, going to have a very interesting session, I'm sure. So put your questions in the chat section. As we go along, these questions will be answered. I think a few seconds have passed now, so every one of us has probably scanned. Without further ado, I will pass the mic on to Christian. Again, thank you so much for joining us this evening. All right, over to you.
Well, first, thank you all so much for having us. Very grateful to be here and make this connection. I'd also like to acknowledge that we have three of our current Darden students on the call here. Shun, who serves as our president of the Darden African Business Organization, Somto, who serves as our VP for admissions for both Dabo and our Black Business Student Association, and Rema, who is one of our first year students here at Darden and holds leadership with Lane. So grateful to be joined here by them, and thank you all in advance. What I'd like to do is I have a quick 5-minute presentation that I'd like to walk through with everyone that gives a brief overview of the Darden experience and some details regarding our application. And then once I'm done, love for our students to further introduce themselves, talk a little bit about why they chose Darden, and then we'll receive questions from all the attendees. Does that sound good? And if I could have the I'll go ahead and share my screen here to get us started. Here we go. All right. So one of the distinctive things about Darden is our case method. And Darden has a general management approach to the way that we teach business, meaning that when you come to Darden, we want to be sure that you walk away with a broad base of business skills and knowledge. And key to the Darden experience is our first year core curriculum, which Shun and Samto have already accomplished and Rema is going through right now, where we put students through varying modules of different business industries, whether it's marketing, accounting, finance, but also some of those interpersonal skills like leading organizations, communication. And what our students walk away with is a good understanding of how all of those different industries relate to each other, how they inform different business practices, but also the opportunity to interact with each other and learn from each other's experience. The case method is very non-traditional in that our faculty are just not standing before the class and lecturing to students and delivering their knowledge and expertise, but really facilitating conversations amongst our students. So our students get to learn from each other. They get to challenge each other's ideas. They build their interpersonal skills by having to present their ideas to each other in the classroom and defend them. And we're one of 3 business schools here in the US that uses the case method for pretty much all of our instruction. It really makes Darden unique and really gives our students the opportunity to actively engage in the classroom. Another unique perspective about Darden is our faculty. One of the things that we are well known for is our world-renowned faculty who come to us from various countries and experiences and bring their research to Darden that informs the way that they shape the classroom. These are just a couple of professors that you might experience in your first year here at Darden, and some of our more accomplished ones. Several of them have been acknowledged by organizations like Poets and Quants as some of the best professors under 40. Melissa Thomas Hunt is rejoining the Darden community this year after a stint as global head for diversity, equity, and inclusion at Airbnb. And another professor who I am very close to is Greg Fairchild, who is very well known for his research on entrepreneurship, particularly in rural localities. So one of the things that we're very proud of is that all of our faculty put a very big priority on teaching. While they are expected to do research and be of service to their various professional organizations, they are primarily here at Darden to deliver engaging instruction to our students.
Hey, sorry, Christian, to cut you. I think your slide is still on the first one. I don't know if you're moving it.
Oh, I'm moving it on my end.
I think you might have to share your entire screen instead of it's moving right now.
Oh, okay.
But
let's see.
You've been doing a good job. Like I could totally understand everything you're saying, but a picture would help other people.
All right, what slide do you see now, Santo?
We're on the 4th one. So if you could go back to the professor one, I think you were talking about professors.
Okay, I was done there. So are we on career now?
Yeah, we're on career now.
Okay, all right, great. Now we're back on track. Thank you. Appreciate that. And then, of course, our Darden Career Center supports students in all of their career aspirations. We're very grateful to have 9 full-time career coaches.
Sorry, I don't know if it's only me. I'm not seeing it. Please, can you just put it in a presentation mode? I'm just thinking.
It should be in presentation mode now. Can everyone see this slide for careers?
Hey, Christian. Yes, we can see the image, but it's not on presentation mode. So maybe as you move the slides, we may not, stay up to date. Do you want to try sharing your screen, just the whole desktop? That helps sometimes.
Okay. Let me try something different here.
Okay.
All right, how about that? We're good to go. Okay, I've got like 4 screens working on here, so I think that was messing me up. All right, well, thank you all. Hopefully we won't have any more issues with this, and I've only got a couple more slides to go. So I briefly want to talk about the way that we support our students in their career aspirations at Darden. We're very grateful to have 9 full-time career coaches to serve all of our students, and they're organized by industry. So for example, if you're interested in recruiting for consulting, you'll work most closely with Christy Gunville, or if you're interested in recruiting for tech, you'll work most closely with Jenny Zinner. This really gives our students the opportunity to have a go-to person as they engage with the recruiting process for sound advice. And one of the things that I love about our career team is that they're really just not trying to get you the next job, but make you think critically about why that industry is an aspiration for you. What are the previous professional skills that you've gained that would be transferable to that industry if you're pivoting careers? Or in what ways would a new position in specific companies really help you level up your skills? And we do pretty well when it comes to our students landing internships and full-time offers with top companies. You'll see the top 12 hiring companies there. And a lot of our students are very interested in top consulting companies like Bain, the Boston Consulting Group, and McKinsey. Other students who are interested in tech often intern with organizations like Amazon or Microsoft. And then we also see a lot of our students who are interested in finance interning with some of the investment banks. You'll also see on this slide where our students go after the MBA. And we have a pretty good reach across the United States. It gets a little interesting when we're talking about placing students outside of the US. And we do have a specific career coach who works with all of our international students who might be interested in going back to their home country or another country outside of the US. And especially with countries that are willing to sponsor students in terms of their visa to continue to work in the United States. Also, we're very proud that over the recent years, we've seen the average salary of our students increase year over year. And you can see the average for last year's class there. Our students do pretty well when it comes to career success, and it's really a result of our entire career team. Next, I want to talk a little bit about the student community, and I'm sure our 3 students here today will have a lot to say about this. But I do think one of the things that makes Darden very distinctive from some of our peer institutions here in the US is the tight-knit community that we're able to build. A big aspect of that is our location in Charlottesville, Virginia, but also the student clubs, many student clubs and organizations that serve our community and make it very vibrant. So you'll see here that we have this branding of One Darden, and we just celebrated a big initiative called One Darden Week about a week ago, where we really tried to establish norms for our community at the beginning of the year. But this is really bolstered by the different affinity groups. The African Business, Darden African Business Organization is one of those where students find their home communities, or one of our many industry clubs, such as the Finance Club or the Marketing Club, that really help our students and their career aspirations. But also some traditions that we have here at Darden, like First Coffee, which is a time period within the break, at each day within a break of classes, where the Darden community really comes together, and our faculty, staff, and students can greet each other over coffee. It's a great way to continue to connect with the community. We are a global business school, and we infuse aspects of this global awareness into both our academic curriculum and out of classroom programming. And a main way we do that is through the many global opportunities that our students have. This has been a little bit interesting as the world goes through this global health pandemic, and that we haven't been able to facilitate some of these programs on behalf of Darden. But we hope that by the time you all apply and matriculate to Darden, that the pandemic will have subsided and we'll be able to reintroduce some of these aspects. A big part of the community is our Darden Worldwide courses. We've been able to facilitate in the past 19 different opportunities over 3 different time periods in the academic year for you to travel alongside your peers and some faculty members to a location of your choosing to really understand how business intersects in a very global way. We're also proud that we have a scholarship for every single full-time MBA student to take advantage of this opportunity, where your course fee, your travel, and your lodging is completely paid for by Darden. So we will take care of at least one of these opportunities for you so that that financial barrier is not in place. And for the class of 2019, which is the most recent class that was able to take full advantage of these opportunities, 85% of them participated in at least one Darden Worldwide course. Another big feature is our Global Consulting Project. This is an actual course that you could take as an elective where a multinational company presents a problem for our students to solve. So in a sense, you're serving as a free consultant to these companies, trying to make recommendations to them. And it could range anywhere from a merger and acquisition of a new company, introducing a new product in a specific locality, solving some supply chain management issue. It really gives our students that hands-on experience that they might need before they go back into the workforce. I'd also like to tell you a little bit about this first year class, the one that Rema has the opportunity to be a part of, because they are really special. They are record-breaking in so many ways. Our target class size each year for the full-time MBA program is 350 students, and we met that almost right on with 351 in this first year class. This year, we have the most amount of students coming to us from countries abroad, and that 40% of our first year students are considered international students, and that's something that we're very proud of. I think specific to this context, we're also very proud that we are able to increase the representations of countries from the continent of Africa in this class. And I'm already starting to see how for the class of 2024, we may even be able to improve on that. We also tied our record for the proportion of women here at Darden at 40%. And this class was incredibly academically competitive and raised our GMAT average to a 715 and kept our average undergraduate GPA right above a 3.5. Now I'll talk some details regarding the application. At Darden, we have 4 rounds of which you can apply for. The deadline for our early action round just passed a couple of weeks ago, and we are already beginning to review those applications. If you're interested in applying to Darden this application cycle, we have 3 remaining rounds for you to apply under. Round 1, the deadline there is October 6th, and you'll hear back from us right around the beginning of December. Round 2, the deadline there is January 5th, and you'll hear back from us in March. That is our most popular round when we see the majority of our applications coming in. And lastly, round 3, the deadline there is April 6th, and you hear back from us right around the beginning of May. For candidates who are interested in applying in future cycles, the early action round is a bit special in that it guarantees you an interview. All other rounds, the interview is by invitation only, but early action, you are guaranteed an interview if you apply under that round. There is also a binding and non-binding option, meaning that if you apply to us under the binding option, that means Darden is your #1 choice. If you are admitted, you would commit to coming to Darden, and we do review those applicants a bit differently than those who apply under the non-binding option. Binding and non-binding only apply to early action. We don't have that option in the subsequent rounds. A little bit about the application. We do currently have a test waiver opportunity for applicants. If you would not like to submit your standardized test scores or sit for a standardized test at all, we do have an application for you to qualify for a test waiver. This is a really good option for applicants who have a strong quantitative background, meaning that you studied some area of STEM in your undergraduate program. Let's say you were an engineer or you studied finance, or you have a current job responsibility where that is quantitatively related. Let's say you're a current accountant or working in corporate finance. We really use the standardized test scores to help us understand your preparation for the quantitative aspects of our curriculum. So if you identify with some of those things, the test waiver would be a really good opportunity for you. We do ask that students who are interested in the test waiver opportunity complete their application for the test waiver 3 weeks ahead of the deadline for the round in which they will apply. That gives us enough time to review your application and give you a decision. Unfortunately, we have seen some candidates who submitted a test waiver application with the hope that they would qualify for the test waiver, but they did not, and they did not have enough time to sit for a standardized test to consider their application complete. So please, if you want to pursue the test waiver opportunity, please plan ahead and get us that application in a timely manner. Also unique to Darden's application is we have a lot of short answer questions. In comparison to some other applicants for applications for peer institutions, we have several, but our intention there is really to get to know you very well. When you are coming to Darden, you're bringing your whole self. So we really want to get a good understanding of your personality, the perspective that you would bring to the classroom. So we have questions that reflect our institutional values here at Darden, like leadership, teamwork, diversity. And then we also want to get a good understanding of your career aspirations after the MBA. We pay a lot of attention to your responses to these questions because it gives us a good idea of how you'll fit into the Darden community. We also have an interview that is a part of every single round. With the exception of early action, all of the other interviews are by invitation. Also unique to us, they are blind, meaning that the person who is interviewing you has not had the chance to read your application. So they are able to make an unbiased assessment of your communication skills outside of your academic preparation and your job history. Also, a part of the interview is that it's conversational. So we don't come in with any prepared questions or a script. We really just rely on you to share your story and ask follow-up questions for us to better get to know you. Also specific to this group, we do have an application fee waiver for all African citizens living in Africa. That code that you see there is also posted on our website, so you don't need to take note of it now. But this will save you $250 US of that application fee. So go ahead and take advantage of that. All right, I'm wrapping up. But next steps, we hope that after today, you will continue to engage with us here at Darden. We have a suite of virtual admissions programming available to you that is wide-ranging. If you're just getting to know Darden, attending an introductory webinar where we provide an overview that is much more in-depth than what I'm able to offer today of Darden's program and experience, attending a webinar would be a good opportunity for you. If you're currently putting together an application and you want some tips on which recommenders to approach or how to refine those short answer essays, we have a series of application workshops where admission committee members will provide our advice specific to our application. And that might be helpful before you hit submit. If you'd like to connect with admission committee members in a group setting, we have a series of virtual coffee chats where we're happy to talk to you about the Darden experience or applying. Or you can even get one of us admission committee members one-on-one through what we call an MBA conversation. It's 20 minutes where you have the opportunity to ask any questions that might be on your mind regarding Darden. And then lastly, we also want to provide you the opportunity to interact with our faculty. Later this fall, we'll have the opportunity for you to zoom in to a real live class and watch the case method in action. And that'll just be an observer role. Or you can participate in a mock case with a faculty member where you're analyzing the case that they've provided, and that'll get you actively engaged in the case method. Some other resources include our Discover Darden blog, which is for prospective students, and a lot of our webinars and previous recordings are hosted there. We also have a podcast where we interview various members of the Darden community to talk a little bit more about their experience. And our student organizations like DABO continue to be a great resource for our prospective students, whether it's getting the opportunity to chat with a student one-on-one to share their experience. And sometimes student organizations even offer the opportunity to review your application and provide some advice. So we hope you take advantage of those resources as you get to know Darden a bit better. All right, that is all from me. Here is my contact information. I am grateful to be a resource to all of you who are interested in learning more about Darden. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me with any questions that you might have. And with that, I'll end the presentation. And I will ask Shun, Samto, and Rema to introduce themselves, and then we'll be ready for questions.
Hey, Somto and team. If any one of you is speaking, I think you might still be on mute.
Okay. Yeah.
I tried to unmute myself, but it didn't allow me to. So can everyone hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Hello, everyone. It's nice to meet you virtually. My name is Shion Wadibara. I'm a second-year student at Darden and also the president of the Darden African Business Organization. So just before I talk about myself, let's use 1 minute to talk about DABO. So quickly, DABO is the body of students from the continent and those interested in learning more about the African continent. So currently we have students from the US, from Pakistan, from Ghana, obviously, South Africa, from Mexico, who are members of the organization. And so our primary goal is to continue to contribute to the global learning initiatives and diversity in the university. Right? So we do that through various programmings. If you check our LinkedIn page that somebody just posted, you see what we've been up to lately. And we work very closely with admissions to also increase the number of students from the continent at Darden. We believe very strongly that students can benefit so much from what Darden has to offer. So thank you very much for joining this call and for considering Darden as one of the schools you're applying to. So a little bit about myself. My name is Shio. As you know, I used to live in Lagos, Nigeria all my life prior to Darden, and I attended University of Lagos. Right after that, played sport for 2 years, then worked in a fintech company, worked at Uber before deciding to come to Darden. So I'm just going to pause there and pass it to Santo.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. Hello, everyone. Super excited to be here. My name is Somto Omoka, originally from Enugu, Nigeria, where I grew up. My background is in petroleum engineering. I went to school in Federal University of Technology, where I studied petroleum engineering. Worked a little bit in Nigeria in the oil field before moving to the US about 7 years ago to get my master's in mechanical engineering. And since then, I've stayed in the US. Worked at 3M Company as a project engineer before deciding to go to a business school. And when I was looking at business schools, one thing that really got me interested in Darden was just the African community we have here. I remember coming to Darden Diversity Conference. I hope you all applied for that. I think the deadline passed yesterday. I hope you all applied for that. I think that was my first connection with Darden, where I kind of connected with the African community. They actually took me as one of their own mates, wrote to me and some other guys there. So when I got into a couple of schools, I knew Darden was already the top place for me to be. And here at Darden, still keeping that African community alive, which is why I'm here. Sheun, every other person is here. Just passing that torch to the Olamide Remat, so your class would continue with the tradition here. I'll share my email. If you have any questions about that, or even MBA applications, always happy to help. And with that, I'll pass it to Remat.
Thank you, everyone. Hi, everyone. My name is Raima. Some of you might know me as Olamide. So I'm a first year at Darden. I'm actually the only first year here. So Somto and Shion are second years. So prior to Darden, I lived in Lagos, Nigeria, but I mostly worked across West Africa. I worked with Nokia, then I worked with Jumia and a bunch of other companies, mostly in marketing and consumer electronics. So my reason for actually selecting Darden was I first connected with Darden, I think sometime last year or before COVID. And Somto is laughing because he was part of my journey. So I first connected with Darden sometime last year through an alumni called Damisola. And she told me amazing things, actually. And then I got to start speaking to admissions team. I connected with more students. I joined the diversity conference, which is why I keep talking about it so much, because it exposed me to the Darden culture. And from the first conversation that I had with Darden, I knew that, yes, this was a community of that close knit that you wanted. And another thing that really stood out for me for Darden was leadership. Like Darden really emphasized a lot on if you wanted to be a leader, a future leader, a female, whatever it is that you wanted to do and ensure that you wanted to stand out, Darden really had that for you. I didn't really understand what case study method was, I wouldn't lie, but experiencing it now actually sounds more fascinating than what I heard before. It's stressful, but it's exciting. So yeah, like I'm happy to answer any questions about Darden. I'm an advocate. I'm sure you guys already know that. And just so you know, Sheon, Taiwo, and a couple of Nigerians actually cooked up the best Nigerian meals last week at the Global Food Festival, and they won. Nigeria actually won. Like, yeah, but Darden is a great community. We have a lot of Africans, to be honest, like Africans from the African continent, and a lot of us are behind here, but it's great. It's great. So you can actually start asking questions now.
Yeah, awesome. So good to have all of you on the call. I can see a hand raised by Eromo. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly, Romo. But yeah, go right ahead.
All right. Hi all. Good evening. Hi, Sunto. Good to see you again. Sorry, where I am is a bit noisy, so I can't turn on my video. So I want to use the opportunity to thank you guys, especially Lane, Kristen. It's good to see you again, and I had a fantastic interview with you. So straight up, my question is, in terms of the diversity conference, right? What do we hope to get from the conference? I mean, what's the essence of it? I mean, from an African context and sub-Saharan context, at the end of the day, what are the advantages of, or what would be the main advantage of the conference?
Yeah, thanks, Eroma, and good to see you again. I'm happy to provide a little bit of an overview of what we have planned for this conference, and I'd invite Remo or Samto Shun, if you all have participated in the past, to reflect on you all's experience. But this year, we're very excited about the diversity conference, which will occur the first weekend in November, November 5th through 7th. It will be delivered virtually. We had some great feedback from our students that last year we held our conference virtually for the first time, mainly because of the pandemic. But an opportunity that it really gave us was to have the conference be a lot more accessible to students, particularly those who are coming to us internationally. Their ability to participate in a virtual conference just made it a lot more easy. What we'll have is we'll assign you into learning teams. So you'll get to replicate the learning team environment that we have for students here at Darden. And you'll have an idea of what that teamwork looks like. That'll be led by a Darden student. So you'll get that one-on-one contact with students to hear their perspective. Throughout the weekend, we'll also have several opportunities to interact with faculty. You'll have the opportunity to participate in a mock case and get a good understanding of what the case method is. You'll also hear a little bit about our faculty research and its intersection with the diversity. We'll have several panels for you to choose from. Then you'll also get to interact with our different student organizations. We have 2 breakout opportunities where you can engage with student organizations that you really identify with, whether it's one of our affinity groups or one of our industry clubs and organizations. So I think overall, you'll walk away with a really good idea of what the academic experience is like at Darden by hearing and engaging with our faculty, but also what our student community is like by engaging with our students in some of those small group opportunities, but also networking with them as well. If any of you all would love to reflect on you all's experience, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Graduate Women in Business mentor. So I had one. I also had a diversity mentor as well. Her name was Tatenda, and she was actually, yeah, she just graduated. So I had that level of support, and the two mentors that I actually got helped me through my entire application journey. So from reviewing my essays to telling me, to helping me prep with interviews, like everything I needed, I got from that conference as well. I also got the opportunity to be able to connect with everyone. Like imagine people from every country, like you can imagine applying to the conference as well. So we had like groups, we could connect, and some of those people are actually my classmates now. So I thought it was very, very cool. Also my first experience with the case study. So we had like a mock session as well, which was kind of crazy, right? And then we also had like various coffee chats with like Dabo, BBSA, and some other like affinity groups, which was great because I got to meet like Rotimi, Daniel, I think Osage, and a couple of other Africans as well during the session. So they gave us like all the insights we needed for the session. And I know that if you actually applied, you definitely get more than that experience as well, because this time we're a lot more, I know that. So Sheol, Somto, and a lot of us would actually be definitely there to help as well.
And I also just like to add, I know, Olamide, you went through your conference virtually. I did my conference in person, so it was a little bit different. So I think your experience is most relevant in this scenario. I think another thing too, if you're attending the diversity conference and if you applied at that round, you get the opportunity to interview, which I think it's a great opportunity. Everybody should take use of that. So I think that's a big plug if you're attending the conference. And I see
that was quite insightful. Thanks, thanks Olamide, thanks Sumto, thanks Christian for your feedback.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a question. Awesome. Okay, so I'm just keeping an eye out for the questions in the chat box. I think I'm just going to go ahead to read some out. It says, Somto, Sheon, and Raimat, can you take us through the application journey? And are there any tips you would recommend?
Yeah, I mean, I can go ahead and kick this one off. So the best application tips that I like to give is, being yourself throughout the application process, right? Darden is a global program and it attracts students from all over the world. So there's no particular thing that would say, oh, this will make sure, or this is a guarantee of success for you throughout the process, right? So if you have a GMAT of 700, that's fantastic, but it doesn't guarantee anything, right? And there are others that also have GMAT of 700, 740. It's really mixed. What defines you throughout the application? That's the way the admissions committee or interviewer can get to see the real you, like throughout the process, right? I'd say that that's the thing. The other thing is around, making sure that you show genuine interest at Darden when you're having coffee chats with, whether it's Christian or even connecting with the current students. I'm sure genuine interest, do your research, like speak to even alumni, try to understand how they even stay connected to the, Darden MBA program after their graduation. When you connect with, Raimat or even Somto or some other person, like show that you've done your research to let us know that, okay, you really want to come to Darden. But I would say the main thing is just, being yourself, try the application process. Don't be afraid to talk about your failure, right? Because, I mean, you've lived more than 25 years, 20 years. You don't expect everything to be rosy all through. Show the things that really define you. And I think the main thing around that is, explaining your why. What is your why? All the decisions you've made in the past, what are the whys behind those decisions? So once you can demonstrate that, I think you'll be able to, just set yourself apart from every other person applying.
Thank you so much, Sheon. Does anyone else want to chime in?
Yeah, I have a question. I don't know if I'm audible.
Yes, you are, but I think I can just add to what Sheon said about what to the application process and what to just add to it. So I actually like that Sheon talked about failure, because I feel like a lot of people don't say, well, you are not meant to celebrate failures, but I feel like business school makes you more comfortable talking about it, because when you fail, you also have a lot of learnings, and that's some of the things that you bring to your classroom. So outside that as well, I feel like you should also have a personality and know who you are, because it's not all about studying. You're going to be in learning teams, you're going to meet people, and having a personality would help you to network. Having a personality also means that people have a different side, like they will be able to see a different side of you beyond what you bring to the classroom as well. So think about your extracurriculars, what you can bring to the Darden community, how you can volunteer, how you can give back, because giving back is a big part of the business school journey as well, and post-business school as well. So think very well, reflect very well, just ensure that you are bringing your true self, like Sheon said, and that's what the business school journey is really about. They want to be able to see that in your application. And yes, you can be a fantastic candidate, but I think that you need to think about how your goals align with what the school has to offer. Because I feel like you can see a great school, but if you're not making yourself a great candidate or positioning yourself very well, it won't give you the best returns in the end. So, but yeah, like Darden is a great school. Just think very well, reflect very well, think of all the things you've done and how you can better position yourself for this journey.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Olamide. I know someone wanted to speak, but just bear with us. We want to go through the questions in the chat really quickly. It says, any advice for reapplicants who were waitlisted? Christian or anyone else can take that.
Yeah, I'm happy to address this one. So one of the things that I'm very grateful that our admission committee team does is that if you are waitlisted, we will provide direct feedback regarding your application on ways that you can improve your candidacy while you are still on the waitlist. We don't provide the same advice for candidates who are denied, but if you are on the waitlist, we will tell you exactly what you can do in order to improve your standing. And sometimes students take advantage of that opportunity, and we're able to offer them a spot off of the waitlist and into the class. If they were not offered a spot on the waitlist and they want to reapply, even more so, they have the opportunity to take advantage of that advice. It could range from refining their career goals to be more clear so that we have a good understanding of what their aspirations are. It could be sitting for another standardized test to improve their score and their academic preparation. Another thing that often will get candidates waitlisted is previous academic performance. If that is a little bit opportunities to take continual learning courses. For example, we have some recommendations on business Coursera courses that are free for students, or other programs like MBA math, which help demonstrate preparation. So when you come back to us and you reapply, there is that question for all reapplicants that asks, what have you done to improve your candidacy since the last time you applied? And we really want to see some deliberative decision-making there. If your candidacy looks the same like it was last time, there still is an opportunity there, because maybe this is a different competitive, the competitiveness of this cycle might look different. But we hope that you've taken our advice and taken action, because I think we do give a lot of grace when it comes to students demonstrating their interest in Darden and coming around a second time. And lastly, out of this first year class, 15% of the folks in the class were reapplicants. So there is an opportunity for success there when you reapply.
All right, thank you very much, Christian. We have two people who have their hands up, but just in the interest of time, I would encourage the rest of us to drop our questions in the chat box so we can go through them quickly. I know we have only a few minutes left. All right, Miriam, you can go. Miriam Isiaba.
Yeah. Hello all. Hi, Christian Uncle. Yeah, so I have to say, first of all, that I think this is the highest number of Africans I've seen in any Darden event. I have attended those events. You know, usually we're like three of us. So it's interesting to see that there's a whole lot more representation in the classes. So essentially I have one question. My second question, I've posted it on the chat. So I want to find out how has remote learning impacted the case study method? Did this drive any major adjustments with how the method is delivered? Because I know this is core to how learning is delivered in Darden.
I can talk about that since I went through most of my core during the height of the pandemic. So one thing with case method is it requires the entire class to participate while you're studying. While the format has changed, while we're not in person, being virtual is still the same thing, right? The professor is still going to cold call you. When I say cold call, it means at the beginning of the class, the professor would say, hey, Raymat, you're the CEO of this company. What's your decision? What would you do? And the whole class would bounce on you, on your ideas, whatever you need to get their participation point. Looking back and comparing what Darden did compared to the other top business schools, we were the only school, or few of the 3 schools or so that actually did a hybrid format. Every other school went completely virtual. What we did here at Darden was we divided the class into 3. So each week, 30% of the class would be in person to still keep the social distance, while the rest 60% would attend in Zoom. And we had to rotate this every 2 weeks. And with that, the participation and even how the class was handled did not reduce. Like, you still get cold called on Zoom, everybody would participate on Zoom. I actually was able to enjoy my classes compared to being on Zoom all day and having lectures, professors talking to me. Then the final part of that is like the community here at Darden, right? While we're still in the pandemic, we call it like the COVID crew, where they divided people up to like 10 people each, where you hang out with 10 people and those are 10 people you get stuck with. But still, the community was still there afterwards. But moving forward, you don't have to worry about that. Right now, Olamide is in first year now. They're having all their core classes. Everybody, we're back together. Everybody, the class is full. The only thing now is that you just have to wear a mask inside the classroom, but we're back in classroom right now.
All right, I think that answers the question 100%. Abby, you can go next.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you, the Darden community, for speaking to us this weekend. I'm Abby. I'm an investment analyst here in Lagos. I work for an infrastructure fund. I noticed that when you were speaking about the career slide, right, you mentioned about the top 12 hiring companies that come to for Darden, and I noticed that we had about 4 from consulting and about 3 from tech. So I just wanted you to speak a bit about investment banks coming to Darden to recruit, the quality of the banks, because my immediate goal post MBA is to get into an investment bank, to get that investment banking experience. So I'm just curious to know what your recruitment is for people looking to go into banking.
Yeah, so I think that and Shen, I'll give a brief overview here, and then I'm grateful for you to jump in. I think that the top 12 companies is reflective of the interest of our students. So to give you an idea by industry, about 30% of our students are interested in recruiting for consulting. About 20% will be interested in recruiting for tech, equity, corporate finance, so on. And then it kind of trails off into some more niche industries like healthcare, marketing, and CPG. So and as it relates to investment banking, all of the top banks recruit here at Darden. When we typically hold on-ground recruiting events, they come down to Charlottesville in person to meet with our students. And we're talking banks like JP Morgan, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, Credit Suisse, Deutsche Bank. Those are all banks where we have seen our students hold summer internships and get full-time offers. So we have 2 career coaches who support our students in the finance area. One focuses on the buy side of finance. The other focuses on mainly investment banking. And his relationships with the banks, he's been doing this for 19 years. His relationships with the banks are very strong. in terms of being able to directly connect with recruiters, giving our students a little bit more of a clearer pathway to understanding what their recruitment process looks like, and staying on top of exactly what they're looking for.
All right, thank you, Christian. I know we have to release Christian.
Thank you very much. That was very comforting.
All right.
I wanted to add to that because he recruited for investment banking, actually.
No, I actually did investment management, which is the other side of investment banking. But the point I was going to make was around how the African student finds success in investment banking, right? So currently in the first year, I know like 3 students already have investment banking offers, and that's even before the actual interview starts, right? So the African student, irrespective of the career decisions or the career industry you want to go into, you find success at that age. So even if it's company that don't come to grants to recruit, just because of the strength of the school, as well as the brand name, and as well as the resources that you have. So we have someone that is dedicated to supporting international students, including people from Africa, with their recruitment, right? So they share different resources around like networking, resume writing, cover letter writing with you, and you can use those. You can use that information to guide your recruiting. So me personally, I did off-grant recruiting, right, and I was very successful at it. Right? So it's good that you want to do investment banking. First of all, you find those companies coming on grants to look for you to recruit, and if you get into that in early enough, you can start pursuing your investment banking recruitment early on, and it's possible for you to even get an offer before you come to grants.
Nice, that's awesome.
Thank you.
We have just 6 minutes left now, so we'll try to hurry through the questions. This question is for Kristen. It says, please shed more light on the Breakthrough Scholars Program. Anything we should be aware of ahead of submissions?
Yeah, it's a very exciting time for Darden, especially as it relates to different aspects of venture capital. And we have a brand new venture capital initiative where we are trying to put all of the different resources related to private equity and VC under one umbrella. This is different professional development opportunities facilitated by our Mayo Center for Asset Management, but also courses and supplemental speaker series that Darden traditionally hosts. We have a brand new program for incoming students called the Breakthrough Scholars Program. And this is specifically for women and underrepresented minorities, including our international students who are interested in private equity, venture capital, or investment management. Our overall goal here is that we've seen a generally lack of diversity in those industry areas. And we're hoping that this Breakthrough Scholars Program will attract more students who are interested in those industries to Darden. And we're offering them an amazing experience. One, there is some scholarship money behind this, and it is our expectation that every person who is considered a Breakthrough Scholar will receive significant financial support. But also, there's an opportunity for mentoring from Darden alumni who are key players in the venture capital area, but also mentoring from faculty who have expertise in this area as well. The scholarship program is being sponsored by corporate sponsors. So we're creating a more clear pathway for students to connect with these different firms and companies so that post MBA, they can land directly with a VC or private equity firm, which we know is very much all about relationships. So we're running a pilot program among our first year students this year, and they're giving us a lot of feedback on the development of the program. Rema has been a part of those conversations, but we're hoping next year for the class of 2024, we'll have 12 to 15 Breakthrough Scholars as the first full cohort of the program.
All right, thank you for that detailed response. I hope that answers the question, Shakira. So there's one last question. Maybe Kristen can take it before he jumps off, but it says, how much support do Africans African students get with both internships and post-MBA job placements? If that's something you can share.
Yeah, I think Somto or Shun might be a better resource here, considering they are both coming off of their summer internships.
Yeah, I can talk about that very well. So in terms of support you get, there are three ways to think about it. Before you get to Darden, while you're at Darden, once you get admitted into Darden, part of the Darden Africa Business Organization, we have a mentorship program. Olamide, we could talk a lot about that, but we would assign you a mentor even before you come into Darden. Majority of this class, through the mentorship program we started, they were able to secure job offers even before they got into Darden. And that's one part of it. If you not decided what you want to do before you get to Darden, because there's so many career fields, you can still come to Darden. And once you're Darden, you would have so many layers of options of support you get. There are three of them, basically. The first is, again, you have a second year coach. You have the Career Development Center who would guide you through that. And then you have the expanse of like the Darden Alumni Network and also the CDC job search, where you have on-ground recruiting. So there's a lot of options for you to be successful here at Darden. And once you graduate from here, looking at post-MBA, once you graduate from here, the network you build here, I think one very good thing about that is like the amount of network and community we build here, because everybody moves from different places, stays in Charlottesville for 2 years. We get to build a community, you get to make family here. Once you leave here, any day you feel like you are done with any job you have, you can always put a word out on LinkedIn or anywhere, and you have people literally getting back to you with whatever request you did. I hope that was able to give some picture to your question.
I actually think I would add to that. So in terms of the support of alumni, I would just give more context. So when I knew that I was coming to Darden, I think as that March, I started reaching out to Darden alumni, and the feedback was crazy. Like, I started speaking to guys in tech, mostly tech. And I spoke to people from Google, from Microsoft, to Facebook, to Amazon. I spoke to a lot of people, mostly Darden alumni. And everyone was willing to help me, even at that time, because they knew recruiting won't start until like summer. And that was like if you were doing the early rounds. But there's definitely that support. I also got a Dabo mentor. I think it was in May. And yes, my mentor actually helped me to review my resume, to edit it, tell me target companies to start looking at and how to start early. So I feel like when you are in the right school, you have the right level of support. To be honest, success is already there for you. So you wouldn't have to stress as much. And then Sheon also mentioned that a lot of our first years, mostly African students, actually got their offers before school started. And that's actually true, which you won't find in most programs as well, because recruiting just started this week, traditional recruiting, where we're already having company briefings. So somebody asked about investment banking. You have investment banking coming on ground. You have consulting coming on ground. But then you have people that have also secured their internships as well. So it's very possible African students are not left out when it comes to this as well.
All right, that is music to all our ears, I'm sure. It's 9 o'clock on the dot now. I would just like to thank Christian, Raimat, Somto, Sheon, and everyone for making this session such an exciting one. Please remember to fill the form that has been dropped in the chat by Christian. It's a way for the Darden team to, follow up with us and keep in touch. I think we can release you, Christian, to enjoy what's left of the weekend. We usually have the alumni just stay back a bit and, chat with the rest of us. So if that's okay, Sheon, Olamide, Somto, you can hang out with us. All right, thank you so much, Christian. And
thank you all.
To see you again soon. All right, take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Christian. All right, so we have our people